Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. It is Super Bowl Sunday, but if you're here, you don't care. So thank you for joining us.
Or maybe they just recorded it, so we shouldn't spoil it for them.
Yeah, or maybe they watch us on return. Last I saw, the Bengals were ahead of the Rams, but there was still a good quarter and a half to go, and the score was close, but within like a touchdown. So, but of course, the important things on these games, of course, are the commercials and the trailers. And we have two new Marvel trailers to talk about. Plus, there was the DC trailer that dropped a few days ago, which wasn't really a trailer, but more of just a bunch of snippets.
Teasers,
but we got But we got our first look as Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate and Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. And they're the two reasons I want to see that movie. I could care less about Dwayne Johnson. I think he's a fine actor. He's entertaining in the things he does, but he's Dwayne Johnson in everything he does. You know?
And quite honestly, I'm loving seeing all the other characters, but when they're like, "Oh, he's an anti-hero," no, he's a villain.
Yep.
In my personal canon, I realize they've altered it somewhat, so in the comics and such that it's he's not supposed to be, but I'm just like, So, but man, I thought it was interesting. Did you notice that when Brosnan is holding the helmet, there are eye holes, and when it's on, there are not?
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's a good catch.
I was like, because at first somebody mentioned that there were no eye holes on it. We're all like several people on a social media thread are like, "Oh, wow!" And then I saw the picture, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, there looks like eye holes to me when he's holding it." So
I'll have to double check that.
Yeah.
But yes, Andrew, there is a sizzle reel for Black Adam, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the Flashpoint movie, and of course the Batman. So, and again, there's not a lot new stuff to it, but enough that it's like little teases. They're fun.
Yeah.
So
every time I hear the new name of the Batman, I hear that the cartoon that came after the DC AU, the Batman.
So, but there was two other trailers that dropped today.
Yes.
One of them is a little quick 30-second teaser we are going to share here because we can do that. All right, let's set this up. Screen 2. All right, let's watch this new trailer.
I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams. It must be very difficult. The voice in your head. There's chaos in you. Embrace it.
Okay, that's just playing the original one again.
Yeah, I was going to say I think they used a few things from the original as well, but
including the music.
Yeah, but wow, yeah, they did a nice job with the moon cloak.
Yeah, the little the little I want to bring up the Doctor Strange one next, but the cloak going into a crescent moon I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it actually looked like maybe there was some sort of an infrastructure that actually popped it out that way. Just the way the cloth rippled, the CGI cloth.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a nice teaser. I think that's going to get some people excited. And of course, that's coming March 30th, but we really don't know much about it. I mean, they're pushing the identity of Stephen Grant And I think that's because I think Stephen Grant's an easier character for the audiences to come in on with him not knowing what's going on.
Right.
Mark Spector, his real identity, is a mercenary, is a hired killer, not someone you necessarily want to get close to, not somebody you identify with. But the bloke who works at the local museum that, is having problems sleeping, we can identify with him, and then so I think it may just be the beginning of that, maybe the first episode we follow Steven more than anybody else, but I think he's our way into the character from a sympathetic point of view that you wouldn't really get from Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, or Mark Spector.
Right. Well, it gives them, it gives you the opportunity to, and this Stephen Grant is obviously drastically different than the
Right.
Stephen Grant we've seen before in comics and stuff. But yes, when he's sort of a victim of all this weirdness going on around him, and doesn't know what's going on, and doesn't, like the first time he gets that call, and it's like, Mark, it's like, no,
Would you call me Mark?
Yeah.
And that accent, we can't stick with Stephen Grant for too long because that accent is horrible.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll run it through a filter or something.
It's like Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. Yeah. Oh, here she comes. Yeah.
Call, governor. Who was that on the telly?
Some
bird was
Mark?
telling me, calling me by the wrong name.
Yeah,
she was.
So, all right. So we got that. The bigger trailer, of course, is the new Doctor Strange. And let's take a look at that.
Indeed.
By the way, we want to point out his bedroom got a lot better looking.
Maybe that's part of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Vince had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
He was right. I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality. I'm going punished.
Hey, that looked familiar.
Truth. Things just got out of hand.
You break the rules. Look out! You come here. I do it. I become the enemy. It doesn't seem fair.
All right. So, how do we
unpack that?
Yeah.
Almost the whole thing, my reaction to it is like, that's cool. Shumagorith! That's cool.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is that it's Shumagorith, but they're not calling him Shumagorith. And that's because their name is tied to the Robert E. Howard estate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was first used in a Conan comic or a Conan novel, so that's why they can't use. That's why they're going with the other name, Gorganchu or whatever. And I was going to point out, it does look like it feels like maybe he's being taken to the TVA, but that's not the TVA. And the rumors online is that's the Illuminati.
Oh, okay.
And that we're going to end up. That's where we're going to get Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier and Tom Cruise as Superior Iron Man, and we're going to get some big cameos as the Illuminati. And I think we're supposed to get Captain Carter in that as well. None of that's confirmed. That's all speculation. But there's been a lot of stuff out there consistently talking about that. So it would be interesting. Plus, it could be an interesting way to introduce characters like Doctor Doom or Namor, especially if Namor is then going to appear in Black Panther. Like, again, a lot of speculation out there.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman who's been cast that as the villain for Black Panther who would make a very good Namor. So, yeah, there's a lot to it. Also, I can't, maybe that's not our Baron Mordo or Mordo. Maybe that's a multiverse Mordo.
Could
because suddenly he's got dreadlocks.
Well, it has been a while. He could have grown them too.
It has, but does he seem like the type that would do dreads? They take work.
I suppose that's true. Well, and I was thinking, really, the guy going around murdering other mages is the one going, "You're the bad guy here."
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think maybe he's a multiverse version of Mordo. Plus, he also seems to be apologetic to Steven.
Yeah. You know who? I know it's Chiwetel Ejiofor, but it's like giving me positive flashbacks to his character in the movie Serenity, the operative.
Yes,
where he was always I'm very calm, I'm very cool, I'm going to have to kill you. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Very polite, but cold-blooded.
Okay, the figure's listed as Master Mordo. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew is our Toy Connection guy, by the way.
Gotcha.
I did notice one thing, and this is going to be, what's a good term for it? This is quite a stretch. But there's a moment where we see America Chavez run out to face something, and two other people come running in, and one is this little Asian guy who looks like a master of some kind, like maybe a sorcerer or something, and immediately mine went to, oh, it's Joel Grey from Remo Williams.
I thought you were just going to go, oh, so maybe it's the ancient one before the ancient one. But no.
I went right to Remo Williams.
Yeah.
You must have walked.
Hey, is that the ancient one? No, I am better than that.
Yes. I would love to see that character pop up for no reason at all, just for the fun of it. So, but that does look spectacular. May 6th on that. Cannot wait to see that, because I am hoping that once we're done with that, we put the multiverse away.
Yeah. At least, give us some space.
Yeah.
Because we've had the multiverse on Disney Plus, and now in Spider-Man, and now in Doctor Strange, and it's like
And sometimes you just want to watch something that's a little more self-contained. You know?
That just punchy.
Yeah, I think that's why Shang-Chi did so well, is because it was like, hey, here's something new, and I don't need to have watched every other movie in the MCU until the very end.
Right.
And even the Eternals was that way a bit. There was a certain amount of But I look at on TV too. We watch Book of Boba Fett. We watch Peacemaker. Well, Peacemaker, you kind of need to have seen Suicide Squad. Book of Boba Fett. Well, you need to have seen The Mandalorian. You need to have seen, well, it would have helped if you'd seen the Clone Wars. It would have helped if you definitely helped if you'd seen Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So
right.
there's all this other stuff, and
Oh, and the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh yes, the Star Wars Holiday Special would definitely have helped.
First appearance of Boba Fett. So I mean,
yes, yeah, and also you should probably go out to LA and get some tacos from Danny Trejo because that'll help you with the series as well.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of backstory, and then you also need to read the Chuck Wendig books, Aftermath, so you know who Cobb Vanth is.
I had forgotten that Cobb Vanth was in those books, and I quite enjoyed those books. But and then you have to make sure that you've read those books so you know who the X-Wing pilot is played, in the sequels.
Right. And that Mr. Bones doesn't show up in the sequels, who should.
Yeah. Could you? Well, here, can you imagine seeing a guy get into an X-Wing and there's a droid head with bones hanging off of it? Like,
Roger.
Oh
man, yeah. Oh, and you probably should watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to get all the references, since Cad Bane is based off of Angel Eyes, and Boba Fett is based off of The Man with No Name.
Right. Although they had I just got a quick glimpse of something that they're come on, Paul. I'm trying to remember that. Oh, Peter Fonda. There was a shot of Peter Fonda with the hat that's almost exactly like Cad Bane's, and a shot that matches one of the shots. And I'm like, I think it's from Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah. But Filoni has said that he based him off Angel Eyes.
Sure. Yeah.
Andrew brings up an excellent point, to my chagrin, in that that as long as Kang is still an active player, they aren't even close to stopping the multiverse, and that's fine. But can we just tone it down a bit? Do we need everything to involve the multiverse?
Right. Right. I mean, it's one thing if you have Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Peter Parker, that was a little, that's and I know people are going to go, what about Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah. You have to watch Quadrophenia to understand the mods, and American Graffiti.
Sure.
Yeah. So, all right, but we weren't going to get to Book of Boba Fett yet. We had some other things to talk about. So, what was the other? We talked about. Did we talk about Reacher last week?
We did talk about Reacher last week.
Did you hear
we
that?
Were talking about how we probably wouldn't talk about it this week because, unlike most of the stuff lately, it was a full dump for the series, full series dump. Yeah. There you go.
Well, we do have one thing to talk about. They have already renewed it for season 2, and they did it Monday. Basically, the show dropped Friday. Was one of their top 5 viewing shows ever?
Yeah,
and they went, "Go, let's do another one." And for those of you who have watched it that aren't that familiar with the Lee Childs books, these neo-westerns is basically what they call them now, because they have that western motif of the guy that comes to the town and just shakes everything up, even though it's not a western. But
or Sean or Kwai Chang Caine, coming to town, and he's just seeking water, guys. Leave him alone.
Yep. But the thing to know is that rarely, if ever, do they reuse characters.
Yeah.
I'm currently listening to The Killing Floor right now, which I have read in the past, but I thought it would be good to listen to it again after having watched the series, which is what the first season is based off of.
Yeah.
And I am noticing the difference. It's like they bring Needley in, who is not in the first book, but she comes in later, which was a good addition because they gave you more material, because the executive producer and writer of the show, who I cannot think of his name right now, but Sean or Nick Santos, I think his name is.
I'm drawing a blank, but I'm looking up.
He said that basically they broke down the book and had about 5 episodes, and they needed 8. So that's when they started borrowing things to bring in, and it made a lot of sense. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah.
About the only thing I think they didn't do as well with the book or with the series as they did with the book is my complaint about the series is that there's 2 big coincidental things. The fact that, and let me put the spoiler banner up just in case. Spoilers! Okay. The fact that his brother is one of the victims, because that just seems like a huge coincidence. Well, we find out in the book that Joe had sent Jack a postcard not within the last 6 months pointing out about Blind Blake having died in Margrave, which is what brought him there. Now, they mentioned that that fact that Joe had told Jack about Blind Blake, but they didn't give a real...
It didn't seem immediate. It seemed like, oh, there was this one time we were, you know.
And they could have said, well, I remembered that when I saw the name on the map, so I decided, hey, let's go there. And, maybe his brother sent it there just in case something bad happened. He knew his brother would come to town.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the fact that Picard is connected to everything.
Right.
When he seems like a random addition from early on. But in the book, they start off and they tell you about Picard before they ever bring him in. And the fact that he was like, don't go to Margrave.
Yeah, yeah.
So they established that a little earlier on, which then helps. So those are the 2 things that bothered me. And I think the book handled them a little better than the series.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love the Jack Reacher series, and I recommend it to anybody who wants just something standalone that you don't need a ton of history, and you can just go in and watch all 8 episodes and enjoy and feel like you got a real story out of at the end.
Yeah. You haven't seen Reacher before, but you've seen guys like Reacher.
Yeah.
Very self-contained.
They've seen Reacher before in the Tom Cruise movies.
They haven't seen Reacher before. No, I just mean it's like, as far as, likewise, you don't need to see the Cruise movies at all.
Yeah.
To understand this. But it's like, he's definitely, he's like an archetypal archetype. He's the one man living his life on his own terms that will underestimate to their chagrin. It is very much, like you say, a Western, or I've always kind of said he's like a modern Conan. He's just wandering around, and when crap goes down, he's going to take care of it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and turn these off long enough for Andrew to come back. It's okay, Andrew. You can come back now. Because I think Andrew actually can join in on the next conversation, because I believe this afternoon he went to go see Death on the Nile.
Oh, sure. Exclude me.
Well, you can be in the conversation. You've seen the original movie with, what was that one with?
Peter Ustinov is actually the one that I saw. And I think I may have already also seen the David Suchet.
Andrew, we're about to talk about Death on the Nile. I believe you went and saw it this afternoon?
He's back, but he's not replying. No.
Well,
hoist by your own petard, Dan.
I'm going to dance around any spoilers. Okay? Because Paul hasn't seen it either. And hopefully, do you think you'll get to see it this week, Paul?
I'm not sure, but if I'll give it a shot, and then if so, then we can talk about it next week.
I will tell you, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
I think the mystery may not be as... The mystery is not as good as the mystery on Murder on the Orient Express.
Sure. Well,
But
that's one of the classic twists, though.
Yeah.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Right.
It's the one that people went, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. But this is a really good mystery. And I kind of sussed it out partway through. I put pieces together when certain things happen. I went, okay, watch for this. Okay, watch for that. So it's not as unique of a mystery as Murder on the Orient Express. That said, it's almost a better acted. There's more emotional gravitas to it.
Okay.
You get a little more backstory. A little more backstory on Poirot. And the ending almost feels like we're closing the door at this point. This may be Branagh's last time as Poirot. I hope not, because I love the character and I love his take on the character.
Yeah.
I really would love to see him do a couple more of these.
Yeah.
I worry because of how much this was pushed back, partly because of the pandemic, partly because of the Armie Hammer scandal. You'll notice that you barely see Armie Hammer mentioned in any of the promotions.
Sure.
Yeah. But he does a good job in this. So that, his scandal aside, this was made before that ever came out. So these people had no idea he was this, whatever it was. And I'm not going to talk about the scandal. I want to talk about the production and the acting. The acting in this is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
There are some changes from the novel which brings a more emotional tie to it.
Yeah.
And there is just stunning visuals. At one point, they end up on the boat on the Nile, Death on the Nile. And it's called the Karnak. They built the entire boat. They didn't use an existing boat. They built one on a lot. And it's amazing. It is basically a 5-star floating hotel. And all the rooms are built. They're not reusing rooms. They really built a full-size ship.
Yeah.
And it's stunning. The detail, I watched a behind-the-scene thing on the detail they put in. Now, these guys went hyper-detailed on the Orient Express.
Right.
They researched it and found what the linens look like, what the decals look like, or the displays, everything about it. Well, they did that here as well. And even though the Karnak is not a real ship, they studied all the boats from that era, and they have put together this magnificent set, and is such a beautifully filmed. And Branagh is an amazing director. I really do love his work. There's a scene, and I won't say who's in it, but there's an interrogation scene where the entire interrogation is two people going around a third. But as it's going, the camera is lowering. So by the time the big reveal of the interrogation happens, you're looking up at the suspect.
Interesting.
And it's really effective.
Yeah.
And it's like, not something I've seen in other mysteries and stuff. This is really a well-directed, well-acted, and well-written movie.
Yeah.
And I was real pleased. I went with Lisa and her kids, and we all loved the movie, which you're talking about two 50-year-olds. I probably shouldn't give Lisa's age up. A 50-year-old, whatever Lisa's age wants to be, an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. A 16-year-old who is in basically learning to make movies.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting dynamic. And all of us loved it. So, and the scores for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes are better than Murder on the Orient Express.
Nice.
So, this is definitely a film worth watching. If you liked Murder on the Orient Express, you're going to like this. Again, like I said, The mystery is a little more pedestrian. And I'm not saying a lot, a little more pedestrian. You might be able to put the clues together where you really can't with Murder on the Orient Express, because it really does break all the rules in an amazing way. Yeah. This is a good mystery. There are some good misdirects, but there's enough breadcrumbs for you to solve it. Yeah, Andrew's right. They cut Armie Hammer so much out of the trailers. And
yeah, well, and that's what was the what was the movie where they put Christopher Plummer in instead of
Spacey, For All the Money or something like that?
Yeah. Where and who is he replacing on that one?
Kevin Spacey.
That's right, Spacey. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's as much as you want to keep up on everything, and but you just can't. Well, you can't keep up because there's too many scandals. But yeah, I mean, especially if you have a really glorious visual movie, having to deal with like, oh wait, we're going to pull him out or put him in and stuff, and it's
yeah.
I
am so impressed by the cast.
Yeah.
After the movie, I told Lisa, I said, well, you're not a fan of Russell Brand, are you? And she says, no, not really. I haven't liked his performances. I said, well, he was in the movie, right? She's like, what? I said, yeah. She goes, what role was he? I'm like, the doctor. She's like, oh my God, he did great then.
Yeah.
He's really good in it. Annette Benning. Annette Benning is a character that's not in the original novel.
Yeah.
But brings a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
It also solves the problem of Poirot just showing up in places.
Yeah.
That's kind of her role in it. And they bring back Book from the first one. So that surprises that surprised me, but it makes a lot of sense. But again, the rest of the cast, I want to get her name because I'm not familiar with her as an actress, but she was fantastic. Sophie Okonedo plays an older jazz singer named Salome Otterborn, and Letitia Wright plays her niece, Rosalie Otterborn. Sophia Okonedo is just brilliant. She plays such a good role. And again, a lot of these characters are just really well done. And again, Armie Hammer does a good job. And nobody knew any of this other stuff about him when they were doing the movie. And yes, it would have been cool if they could have kind of made him disappear. But you can't bring back Gal Gadot, Letitia Wright, Emma Mackey, all of these actors, these big named actors.
Yeah.
It's like, so they held it off as long as they could, and then they put it out. Rose Leslie from Game of Thrones is great in it. French and Saunders, the old the comedy team.
Yeah.
Jennifer Saunders plays Maria von Schuler, and Dawn French plays her nurse Bowers.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I knew that who Jennifer Saunders was because I know AbFab.
Yeah,
and other things she's done, but I couldn't place Dawn French. And then when I looked it up, I'm like, oh God, French and Saunders, I forgot. Oh my God, yeah, they were terrific. So I highly recommend this movie. It was we went and saw it yesterday afternoon in the theater. It was about 11:30 when we got in there. The time just flew by. It is gorgeous. There is some amazing scenery from Egypt. It's Kenneth Branagh's directing, which is always gorgeous. And I just really recommend this movie. So we can talk more about it in depth when you get a chance to see it.
Yep. That sounds good.
Yep. So.
Quick callback. Nick Santora was who you were trying to think of.
Santora, writer, executive producer on
Developed by.
Yeah, developed by. Yeah, he's the one that got the green light to do Reacher. Got Lee Child is very happy with it, which is always important. And Lee Child is a trooper. Lee Child, when Tom Cruise got cast, he kind of figured that Tom Cruise was the only way this was going to get made when they did the movie. So he was like, well, he brings a presence to it and stuff like that. But he is very clearly like, this is a better version,
Did you catch his cameo?
Did he cameo in Reacher? I know he was in the movies.
Right at the end, as Reacher was going into the diner, he was the guy that as the guy was going out. Oh, sorry, and he's like, no, it's all right. Yeah.
Nice. So, well, thank you, Amy.
Very kind.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And hey, Brian, good to see you. Brian is part of the Pop XL podcast with Billy Tucci. So, and Niles, I can't think of Niles' last name. I think it's Scala.
Rain.
Yeah, they were nice enough to have me on when I was promoting Karma.
So there you go.
He says, I can't wait to watch this after the super sports ball game. Cool. Hope you like the replay. All right. We should probably move on. Let's talk a little bit about this week's Peacemaker.
Yes.
Oh, I meant great story on Boba Fett. Really enjoyed the story on Joe Mannix. Amy, I'm a huge Joe Mannix fan. Paul, I don't know if he's watched it much, but my friend Natasha, who does those episodes with me, is obsessed with Mannix. Actually wants to write a book on the series, and she got me into them. She owns like 2 or 3 of his coats. I think she just sold one and is now down to 2. But we will be doing a 3rd season one soon, especially since there's going to be a big gap between Marvel and Star Wars shows. So I'm going to sit down and rewatch the 3rd season, get her to do the same. And we will do a Pop to Go the Writer Night, probably in the first week of either May, well, probably too close for March, maybe the first week of April. I don't know, because Mr. Paul here plays D&D on the first Sunday of each month.
It is true. It is true. I watched Mannix when I was a wee child. I have not a Lee child, but a wee child. And I don't think I've seen it. I thought I had set my DVR for it, but no new episodes have showed up. Well, not new, you know what I mean. Yeah,
it's on MeTV if you get MeTV.
So maybe that's it. Maybe maybe MeTV dropped off of my
could be
channel listing, but but I always love Mannix.
Yeah, our running joke, or my running joke, is that he's gotten hit on the head so much that if you watch the series, you realize that season 1 is so different from 2 through 8. So my running joke is that he got knocked out in season 1 and is in this basically coma where he's dreaming of all the other 7 seasons are all his dream state, while Wickersham is sitting next to the bed holding his hand going, "Come on, Joe, come out of it."
So basically, you're saying it was life on Mars before life on Mars.
Yeah, I think all of season 2 through 8 are Joe in a coma dream. Because
well, concussions are not anything to laugh at.
Yes, Bob Saget.
Yeah, I just thought about that as I was saying that. Yikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely squeeze one in there, and I gotta try and get some of those on the DVR just to catch up on them. But we were starting to talk about Peacemaker, which Andrew will have to run off again.
Yeah, let me put the spoiler warning back up. First thing, the fact that they played Hot Sherry from Hardline was huge for me, because when I got into comics and I had my own publishing company, we were called Hardline. And it's because I obsessively played that album. And we were trying to come up with a name, and somebody went, "Why don't you just name them Hardline? You like the band so much."
There you go. There you go. I am really, really ticked off about Peacemaker
Why?
because I'm really starting to enjoy it. Like, I was like, well, we're going to be talking about it. I guess I'll have to watch it. I was not one of the people who was like, oh, the dance, yay! Although I do love the the Alan Tudyk connection and everything, but I was
You
like,
saw
yeah,
him doing
okay.
the Resident Evil outfit? Or the
Huh?
Resident Alien? Did you see him on Twitter doing the Resident
Oh no, I missed
Resident
it.
Alien? All right, you talk. I'll see if I can find it real quick.
Okay, so I was there. It was enjoyable, little over the top, a little obnoxious to me. It just didn't grab me, and then suddenly over the course of 2 or 3 episodes, I'm actually going like, ooh, what's going on here? What ooh, that, there's character development happening here. There's people starting to like, I'm starting to care about these characters, and I was not expecting that. I expected to get through the whole darn thing going like, yeah, it was okay. Because I felt like in Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker was kind of a one note joke.
Yeah.
It was sort of like, hey, he's kind of like Captain America, but dumb, sort of thing, or more ridiculous. Not that I think Captain America is ridiculous, but yeah, I just I'm really surprised to be caring about this show so much.
James Gunn is really good at giving us ridiculous characters and then suddenly making us care about them. It's like if
Yeah.
you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, you care about a raccoon. You care about a tree. You care about a giant green guy who doesn't get metaphors.
Yeah. By the way, if my friend Stephanie Cook hears this, she's coming for you because you dared to say that that it's surprising to care about a raccoon, which Stephanie loves raccoons.
Okay. By the way, here you go. This was a fun little thing that Alan Tudyk put up on his Facebook page. Now, remember, Alan Tudyk's wife is the one who...
she's the choreographer. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the choreographer for the dance routine, and he filled in for John Cena. But here he is in the full Resident Alien gear and posted this.
Shortcut to your dream. Go straight to the stars on a flying thing.
Completely ridiculous, I know.
Oh man, I love me some Alan Tudyk.
Yep. And there was a second Wigwam song in this last episode too.
Yeah, yeah.
So Wigwam is having a resurgence.
Because
I think I mentioned this last week. The band got basically fired by their agent the day before Peacemaker premiered.
he was like, "Oh, I got my cut of the music money. Like, I'm never gonna have this again. I'm just washing my hands. Oops."
Yep, Wigwam's getting big again, and
Wow.
and Guns picked some amazing music for this thing. But again, all of the characters and just even the subtle things like Vigilante pointing out that there's weak spots in White Dragon's armor a few episodes ago, and then him using it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and Vigilante goes from absurd to badass like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
why are your pants down? I don't like things touching my butt when I pee. And then he's diving in and taking out White Dragon. And then Economos comes in and mows down all the followers. It's like,
And like, Economos continually, it's like, want nothing to do with this. Oh,
Yep.
wait, here, let me show up for a badass moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Gunn is just doing this. These are all his buddies. You know, Steve Agee is a buddy of his. Steve Agee was one of the Ravagers in Guardians.
Yeah.
You know, Jennifer Harcourt, who gets that badass fight scene against Judo Master. That's Gunn's girlfriend.
What?
Yeah, they're together. They're a couple.
Did not know that. Did not know that.
So,
So
you know, I mean, a couple.
No chance at all.
Nope. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Being a friend to James Gunn seems like the best thing ever. You know?
Yeah, if you want to revive your acting career, Dan.
Oh yeah.
Maybe do something besides lay on the ground.
It would be nice. I would definitely call up. I'm still hoping that when they get around to doing an Archer and Armstrong,
there you go.
That they'll call me up for Archer or for Armstrong. So I think I can do it.
Actually, either one.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
One might suit you better, but
yeah.
You may have to cut your hair, though. Usually he doesn't get it quite so long.
I would cut it. I would absolutely cut it. But yeah. I got the flat caps now, so I'm ready.
Yep.
So I can do it. I think I'm there.
Yeah. Why did that guy just run into that backdrop?
My vision's not that bad. I can't read without him, but I can move around without him. So, I am just amazed by Peacemaker. The fact that we feel bad for a butterfly as he's dying.
Yeah.
The little hand thing. It's like, oh. But the best moment of the whole episode might be when they're in the vet's office and Harcourt does that inspirational speech, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're going to be our leader. I'm in." And the three vets are like, "Let's do it."
Let's do it.
You don't know, you'll get killed.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was worth a try. Yeah, that was. She's good with the inspirational speeches. What can you tell? Say, I mean, it's.
But yeah, but that's such a thing, a throwaway thing that is just brilliant.
Yeah. And then you're also at the point where you're like, wait a second. How did nobody notice that one of them went and got a shotgun?
Yeah. And they're all like, they're really nice, actually. Well, except for that vigilante guy. Yeah, he's a psycho.
Yeah, the guy in blue.
Yeah. Or Abadayo's reaction to seeing Eagly hug Cena or hug Peacemaker. And I gotta admit, I think I might react that way too. Like, did that eagle just hug that guy?
Well, I love too that she got a chance to go back. Because, in the first or second episode, it was like she saw it and she's like, no one's gonna believe this. So she actually was like, honey, look.
Yeah, it is an amazing show. And it is so much more than I expected, because I did not like the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so painful to watch, seeing how low this character got. But then that's pretty much what you're supposed to do with a character, I guess, when you're building them back up. But,
I was going to say, usually you wait till some point in the second act to tear them down, though. Start from the gutter.
But since this was a follow-up to Suicide Squad, he kind of did.
Fair.
But you seem just as surprised you like it that I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I did not. Like I say, I like the Suicide Squad, but it's a 2-hour or plus movie. You do things in that you don't do in long form,
Yeah.
And so you have this like, hi, I'm the big buff patriotic guy, except I'm all like, blow everybody away and say stupid stuff. It's not the guy that you turn around and expect to be rooting for. I mean, he still killed Rick Flag.
Yeah.
And his brother.
Yes. But it really was his dad's
fault. Not Rick
fault.
Flag's brother.
Yes.
It really was his dad's fault.
Yeah. And he killed his dad, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
what are you gonna
They killed
do?
a whole room of white supremacists. That's actually, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. Well, I love though how they went and they took the white dragon and they went, look, we don't want to have regular old hoods, so they made the double. Oh look, it's like the horns.
Yeah.
And it's like, or like a weird pillowcase. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just shocked. I mean, it's like I like James Gunn. I like most of the actors that I knew beforehand, and the rest all seemed to be pretty good. I just was like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those ones. It's not for me, but it's good.
Yeah.
Just doesn't hit my sweet spot.
Who knew Freddie Stroma would be so damn good?
Freddie Stroma?
Vigilante.
Oh, I've never seen him in anything before. Have you?
Yeah. He was in Time After Time series they did about H.G. Wells chasing Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I've only seen the original movie on that.
And then he was in something else recently. Was it Freddie Stroma? He's actually done quite a few things. The Crew, Bridgerton. He was Prince Frederick on Bridgerton. He was H.G. Wells in Time After Time. He was in Unreal as Adam Cromwell. He was Cormac McLagan in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2.
And the Half-Blood Blood Prince. Wow, that was bad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean he's got a good resume. I mean,
he was Dickon Tarley.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Wow. He's particularly good because I didn't recognize him from anything else he's ever done.
Yep, and it says he says he was uncredited in the Suicide Squad, but I'm not sure how that's possible since he didn't actually become Adrian Chase unless they added a scene, because he wasn't the original Adrian Chase. They had somebody else, Christopher Cantwell, I think was his name, or something like that. And they ended up firing him after doing 5 episodes and then reshooting all of Vigilante scenes.
Maybe his small part in the uncredited part in the Suicide Squad made them think that he would be good. Either that, or he's talking about was he the guy that got killed and then everybody was like, how did you not notice he was around?
That wasn't him, but yeah, that was the driver from South America. But yeah. So that was I am really impressed, and I can't wait to see this finale. And I think they should have taken the veterinarians with them, because at least they would have soaked up a few bullets.
Yep. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Did you notice in the trailer for the season finale, Peacemaker gets a shield?
I did see that. And I kind of liked it, because I mean the he's got the shield on his costume.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
But yes, I think they were going for some kind of evocative comparison there.
Well, he said from the beginning that he had read all the comics and was trying to get into the character, and James Gunn went, "No, you're douchey Captain America," and he goes, "Oh, I can do that."
I was going to say they should get Wyatt Russell and John Cena to do a douchey Captain America off.
There you go.
No, I'm douchey
anymore. He's kind of coming around.
Well, yeah, but hey, let's be honest. John wasn't that far gone.
True.
Yeah. So
I'm still impressed by the piano scene.
Yep.
Because even good piano players have a hard time being filmed and making the music match up and everything match up. And they did a really good job of that.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm disappointed that I have to buy another month of HBO Max so I can watch one episode of Peacemaker, but I'm going to do it.
Exactly. Yep. So, oh man.
So
All right.
shall we get
Yeah.
to the main event?
Yes. But so Peacemaker season finale this week. We'll talk about it next week, and then that'll be it. That'll be the end of Peacemaker until they announce a season 2. And
Peacemaker 2, The Wrath of Electric Boogaloo Strikes Back.
yes,
As,
there you go.
As all number 2s are.
Peacemaker 2, The Search for Eagly.
There we go.
I have and always will be your friend. But the Eagly talk, you know.
Yeah, why have you just been squeaking up till now?
Yeah, everything was fine.
Yeah. I was making myself understood. So
Boba.
that Boba. That I was really happy, by the way, when I went back and listened, and it was not that clear.
No, it was just added for the finale.
Because I was just like, how did I miss that? Because I sat through a lot of the credit scenes to see the production.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did I? How did I miss that? So I'm quite relieved that it turns out I'm just not that oblivious.
So let's ask this first question. Do you feel that the series paid off everything that it set up?
It paid off enough that I'm happy. It still felt like the payoff on the the Pike Syndicate killed them, not the bikers, was kind of like, okay, that, I mean, at least it came back around.
Yeah.
But it didn't have quite the emotional punch that would have happened if, say, the female Tusken came zooming out and, with a horde of other tribes to help out.
Andrew says, trick question, they set up nothing. Same thing that he offered. I did like the comedy reunion of Amy Sedaris and Paul Pasquale, the Major Domo, and
I can't remember. Shoot,
they were together in a comedy troupe a long time ago, and then he was also on Strangers with Candy and other things with her. So,
I did not realize that.
And we all think they're going to end up dating now, right?
The characters, yes. David Pasquesi.
There it is, Pasquesi.
Yeah.
So David Pasquesi. So, yeah, the whole thing, nice head tails. It's like, oh God.
Oh.
She did hook up with a Jawa.
So, what really surprised me was Garza Thwip showing up right in the middle of everything. Oh, they were walking in the cantina, and the dust kind of went up in the air.
Andrew says, I don't want to just fanfic, but I would have killed for Fett to respond to Cad Bane about the Pike killing Tuskens with, I know. I always known they killed them. I'm kind of at a point where, and I've seen a lot of reviews for the Book of Boba Fett that aren't really reviews. It's people saying how they would have done it.
Yeah.
There's one guy who has a channel who reviewed, and I watched the review, and he said, I hated the end credit scene. It didn't give us anything. And I'm thinking it did. The end credit scene to me shows you that Cobb Vanth is still alive. He's going to be upgraded. And there's a good chance that he's going to end up working with Boba to help protect the planet so that Boba can then go off and help Mando get back Mandalore. So I think there's a lot of setup there.
Yeah.
But the thing
Well,
is
even
that
if it's only, hey, they're gonna revive him and repair and revive him.
yeah,
That's enough to me.
yeah. But what this guy said was, well, I wanted to go back and see Luke on the planet, and then have the Millennium Falcon land behind him, and a de-aged Han Solo come out with Ben, going, "Hey, kid, I got your first student here," or something like that. And it's like, why? We know that
And
happened. We know that.
Ben is too young, or not
Yeah.
even. It's too early. The
Yeah.
timeline doesn't work out.
Uh-huh.
Just to pull the geek card,
Yeah, but we
excuse me.
know that's gonna happen. So why do we have to see it?
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
it provides no new information.
yeah, we got to see how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit, which we had never seen. And
Yeah.
even though it's been hinted at, or Patton Oswalt did his whole discussion about it, we finally got to see it, and we got to see how Boba Fett survived. And this is the book of Boba Fett. And yes, they did spend a lot of the last 3 episodes elsewhere, which could have been handled better had they called this the Battle for Tatooine, or if maybe they had spread out the other stuff and then there was more Boba Fett per episode. So we didn't front load it all in the first 4. So that maybe a little bit of Mando, little Cobb. Because it does seem like they quickly tried to put everything together.
Yeah.
They spent so much time building up the Boba Fett past that we didn't really start setting up the future. So I've got some qualms as a writer. I've got some qualms with the story. But as a fan, they fan service the hell out of it. They gave us just about everything we could, it's like, you want Boba Fett on a Rancor? We got it.
By the way, mea culpa on that one. I thought that was a whole subplot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't real. It's like, nope. They wanted Boba Fett riding a Rancor. So they figured out a way to make it happen.
Yep. I'm at a point now where I'm pretty much convinced that they're doing the simplest stories. They're not doing the big twisty things that we all think they're going to do. And that's because we have way too much time on our hands. And by we, I mean the internet in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've started doing it with WandaVision, and we've been doing it ever since. And all these twisty turny stuff. And it's like, no, if we just sit back and let them tell the story they want to tell, then it works. But when we start, getting down on the show because it doesn't do what we think they should do.
Yeah, it just because we expect if we expect something and they give it to us over and over again, we're going to stop watching. It's like, well, I figured that out episode 1 that they were going to do this. Oh, there's that thing you expected us to do. Yes, they're both more cunning and simpler than we're giving them credit for.
Yeah. It's like, how awesome was the showdown between Cad Bane and Cobb Vanth?
Yeah. Yeah.
How awesome was the showdown between Cad and Boba Fett? Maybe it could have been a little longer, but it was still cool. Plus, we got to see him. He couldn't beat him with his Mandalorian tech. He had to go to his Tusken training, which is kind of a nod to the series. It makes sense. From a writer point of view, that's your payoff.
Did you catch the one? And this is so nitpicky, but I've watched it a couple times now, and it just bothers me. Is that they're going through, and at one point, the spike at the end of his gaffy stick is curved down, and it's just like, and then a moment later, he kerchunks it into his.
Give it a week, they'll have fixed it, and it'll be a new version up on Disney Plus. It'll be like the Jeans guy on the Mandalorian season 2. It'll go away.
Han Solo was wearing jeans.
Yeah. The only thing that made no sense to me was the mod kid. Was it Scad?
Yeah.
Doing the spin when he's trying to help Chrysanthemum to his feet, spins around and fires. Like, why did you spin?
Or you could have just pointed.
Yeah.
I think the idea was supposed to go, well, see, these guys are all about looking cool no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it's like when you're sword fighting, you don't
Ouch. Cookie
so
pouch.
you don't actually want to spin with your back to your opponent. They will
Yeah.
usually stick you at that point, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
But,
Andrew
yeah, it's called
has it
style.
right there. It's called
There's a
style.
lot about the mods I could have done without, but
The one thing that the thing that was getting me this time is I was noticing just how porcelain pale Sophie Turner was.
yeah,
And she's driving around
in the sun.
in the sun. Like, does she have like a little mist, back to mist coming up
If you
off
would have
of
put
her?
these guys on Coruscant, it would have made sense. They don't make sense on a planet with two suns,
Yeah. And like, I don't mind the things looking as good as they did, but yeah, there was just a point where it's like, okay, they're too spiffy. Just or if their clothes had looked like they were trying to look like the center planets,
Mm-hmm.
but they were kind of a little scruffy, a little like maybe
Yeah.
because yeah, it did. For one thing, if they had enough money for those mods, the bikes, and the clothes, why don't they just buy water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen them spend a little more time on developing the mods, developing Chrysanthemum, maybe giving names to the two Gamorrean guards that got thrown over the cliff.
You mean Ugg and Grunt?
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
instead of
go ahead.
Instead of doing 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
As much as I love that stuff, it just doesn't make sense for the series where they could have spent more time developing Boba Fett's story and the people around him.
Did it at all occur to you, by the way, though, as those guys were coming at the Gamorreans, that they could have just split and gone in 2 different directions along the rim of the? I was like, why are you backing?
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. At the very least, they should have charged. Or it just was like, no. Well, then again, maybe Gamorreans aren't very smart.
Could be.
Or at least the ones that hire themselves out as guards.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a Gamorrean accountant somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's like everybody's like, oh, Stephen Root's going to, him pissing off Stephen Root's going to come back to haunt him. No.
Yeah.
Though it did bug me a little bit that at the end they're walking along and Boba goes, "We're not cut out for this." Really? This is what you went for. This is where you led to. You made all the decisions.
Well, maybe not all the decisions. I felt like at some points Fennec was like, "Okay, Boba, you come," like when Boba's like, "I'm gonna beat up the bigger kid," and she's like, "No, leave him be.
Do it another time." Yeah.
Yeah.
I can beat him. I can take him. No, do it. I can take him. No, turns out you can't. Turns out he shot your ass a couple times, and it wasn't until that he started bragging.
Monologuing.
Yeah. That you got out your gaffy stick and smacked him around.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
By the way, I want to go back and watch that like frame by frame, because it didn't quite, like, I'm kind of like, okay, wait. Okay, there's just that moment where I'm not quite sure why Bane didn't shoot him again while he was doing his.
It wasn't in the script.
Yes, that's correct.
Why didn't you shoot again?
Well, there's just like, and I'm not positive, that that it wasn't just like I just didn't see it clearly, that it worked, because they're usually pretty good with that.
Yeah. Overall, I actually liked the finale.
Yeah.
I have some issues with the series overall as a storyteller, as a writer. There are some things they did that just don't seem to make sense to me, that I would have done differently as a writer, but I'm not going to critique the series because of that, because I would have made different choices.
Right.
What they presented was the story they wanted to tell, and there was a lot of fun stuff in it, a lot of fan service. We got to learn a lot, and we were totally set up for Mandalorian season 3 now, because Din has a new ship. He's got the baby Grogu back. Now, it does seem like it kind of lessens the effect of the season 2 finale with him coming back so quickly. I had really hoped we would get a third season that was focused on him taking back Mandalore without the baby, or without Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not what they want to do. And most people were like, no, you've got to have Grogu, because it's Lone Wolf and Cub. We got to have Cub. So I was like, all right. But I did find it interesting that Amy Sedaris, the Pelimoto character, got to be the voice of fans when R2 or whoever it is told her the kid's name is Grogu, and he's like, that's a horrible name.
It's not really. But yes, it was, well, hey, what names are really great in Star Wars?
True,
I mean,
they're all
I mean, other than like the first 3 characters,
Yeah.
the trio from the first 3 movies,
Yeah.
Lando's right on the edge there. But yeah.
Boba is not even a good name.
Yeah, Boba Fett's not a great name.
Yeah.
We now associate Yoda with something really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's that great a name.
No.
Yoda.
I thought yogurt.
I believe it's a kind of beer or in oh no, that's Yoder.
Yeah.
But still, it's So but yes, I thought it was great. And then of course we had another opportunity for bring him something gross to eat that's still alive.
Yes. All right, we're going to take a quick break real quick, and I'm going to give you a sports update just in case you care. The Rams came back and beat the Bengals in the last-minute drive, 23-20. They had been down 20-17, so they came back, scored a touchdown, won the game, and this is the second team in a row to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium, which until 2 years ago, or until last year, really hadn't been done before. So to do it back-to-back is kind of interesting. So Rams beat the Bengals 23-20, and this will sting Paul a little bit, but Matthew Stafford's long suffering, having been a Detroit quarterback, is finally over.
Not going to really affect me. Thank you, though. I appreciate your concern, but honestly, Matthew Stafford was halfway through his stint with the Lions before I knew Matthew Stafford was playing for the Lions. Honest. And that's not one of my jokes or anything. They're like, yeah, this guy's been with the Lions now for 4 years or whatever. I'm like, huh? So
I thought it was still Scott Mitchell.
Bubba Baker used to live, Bubba Baker or Bubba Smith. Bubba Baker he was a Detroit Lion and used to live down the block from me. Because
that Barry Sanders isn't on the team anymore, right?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I was thinking back on that. The only thing, because we've had our discussion about football, is like I'm remembering back when, like, this guy literally had a 3-bedroom ranch in my neighborhood while he was a professional football player. Because this was back in late 90s or late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And they just were not all making big didn't so I'm maybe he had a bigger house, wherever he lived in the off season, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that was a strange and pointless diversion.
Let's go back to Boba. And Andrew asks an interesting question. Do we think that Garza Fwip, not Garda, Madame Garza Fwip got fridged? Paul?
May I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not think so, because she was not killed to advance the story to provide additional emotional weight to the story of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
She
I agree. I don't think they got emotionally close enough.
Yeah. Now that's not to say that, yay, she got killed, but I think it was intended to, have that feeling of in a gang war, people die.
Yeah.
And so that's just how I felt about that. Was, all those people. There was a whole cantina full of people.
Yes, there was, and they could have done the same thing, just walking into like the town square, or they could have walked into what's his name, Stephen Root's water thing, and done that.
Yeah,
or maybe they should have done both.
I was going to say, except then Boba would stop and pay them if they'd gone to the water establishment.
Yeah,
like, oh, thanks.
My point is though that the payoff there was the scene from the Untouchables where they blow up the bar. They put the briefcase bomb. So let's see. Andrew says she was the only good person connected to Boba's empire, yet didn't get to do anything beyond die. I don't necessarily think she was a good person.
No,
I think she might have been connected to the mayor. She was questionable at best.
Jennifer Beals, good person.
Yes.
But yeah, Garza Fwip has been, she's obviously blows any way the wind does. If whoever says I'm in charge, she'll go okay until somebody blows you up, and then I'll.
Yeah, she's more Rick from Casablanca. Going with whatever keeps her club open, and then gets caught in the middle. But they could have had a male character lead it too, and I don't think it would have changed anything because, like I said, I don't think there was an emotional connection. So when she got killed, it was that the entire thing got killed. The club got blown up. That was on Boba's turf. That was to send a message.
Yes, on his turf and a source of income.
Yeah.
So I mean, did she not get to do anything? I don't know. She had her whole big moment with Santo.
Yep. And she did a lot of helmet polishing.
Well, or had people helmet polish.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought that, she got to do stuff as a character. I don't think every instance of a woman dying in a movie is fridging.
Yeah.
And
normally a fridging,
Normally
a fridging is a romantic connection.
Yeah. Or could be a mom, could be a sister, but it's there specifically to provide an emotional drive for the character. Boba was not going to get revenge for Garza Thwip.
No.
So tell the folks at your place that I appreciate the laughter on that one.
Yeah. I'm kind of in a bad situation here because I'm in LA. The Rams won. Fireworks went off. And one of our dogs comes to hide under my desk. And my door doesn't close properly. So the dog pushes the way in. Yeah. So I actually would have to stop and go close the door. And my nephews are visiting with their new baby. So all that's going on out there. So my apologies for the laughter. I had hoped it wouldn't. But
First time I heard it. I actually was on a Okay, we got to. I'll slide this in under a minute. I was once on a phone call with my friend cartoonist David Yurkovich rather, and something went like wild on the phone behind him. And I was like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. The Phillies were playing the some team, the Red Devils or something, in the Stanley Cup, and apparently they won." And I was like, "Oh, you mean the Red Wings?" There's two people in this city who are not paying any attention to it, and we're on the phone together.
Yes. Flyers versus the Red Wings, huh?
That was good Lord, that was a while back.
Yes. Speaking of odd things, on Friday night, bringing that up, I was on the phone with Lisa. We play Warcraft together, and we'll we'll call, put it on speakerphone, and talk while we're playing.
Sure.
To hell with
in-game chat,
or Discord. Just call and put on speaker. We got unlimited minutes. But we're playing, and suddenly I hear what sounds like a shotgun in the background. And then a few seconds later, and she yells out for her kids and then says, "I have to call you back." And then the line goes dead. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because now I'm a little concerned.
Sure.
Well, and if you know anything, Lisa has had some really bad luck in the last 2 years. She had 2 years ago at this point, right before her birthday last year. Her birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Yeah, she got her truck stolen from her parking spot. It got totally stripped, dropped out in the desert, and then shot to hell. She had to pay to get rid of it. Her insurance didn't cover any of it. So she put together enough money to buy a new car. In June of last year, she was driving down a 2-lane highway. Somebody decided to pass on the other side, came into her lane, and she tried to get over. He tried to go as well, totaled her car.
Yeah.
Luckily, she survived with some injuries, but of course, he has no insurance. No house, nothing to sue, nothing.
Yeah.
So again, she's screwed. My mother, who happened to have a backup car, because when my mother was taking care of my father and her parents, always wanted to have a second vehicle in case of emergencies, decided Lisa can have the Volkswagen. So Lisa's out teaching her daughter, her 18-year-old daughter, how to drive. Her 18-year-old daughter panics, ends up slowly going up over a curve into a parking lot and hits 2 different parked cars. Now, her cousin is able to put the car back together. Her insurance will cover the other cars, but not her, So a lot of bad stuff happened. So I hear this. And then I text her about 20 minutes later going, what in the hell's going on? Well, it turns out that somebody in the parking lot of her apartment building has a pickup truck with some kind of chemicals in the back, and it caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
Went up huge in flames, 5 explosions total. Yeah. I don't know if this will show up on the video. Let me see real quick if it will. But let's see. There's
over here. Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah. Now, if you look right in front of the fire, there's 2 empty parking spots.
Mm-hmm.
One of those is Lisa's.
Well, thank goodness.
Now, she parked closer to the house because I was coming up, and normally when I come up, she parks, and then I get to use the carport. So I was coming up on Saturday. So Friday, she parked over in one of the other spots to leave that open. So luckily, it didn't affect her car. But I'm getting this call, and she took some amazing photos that the local news is actually using now.
Wow.
Yeah. But, yeah, just huge fire. It destroyed the 2 cars on either side of it. And I went up there today, yesterday, and I got one shot of the car. Let's see if that'll.
This way. Yep. Ooh,
Yeah, that's done.
yeah,
The tires are melted, and the asphalt is melted.
yeah.
So yeah, so she got lucky. Everybody got lucky, other than the people who own those 3 cars. And then she ran back because the next spot over was her neighbor, who is always super sweet and parks as far to the left as he can to give her plenty of room to get out. So she ran over, knocked on his door, and they hadn't heard anything. Says, there's a fire and your car is in danger. So he runs out and moved his car. So,
Nice.
but yeah, the fire department was out there quickly. But yeah, big ass, huge fire. But I'm sitting there on the phone listening to this going, what the hell's going on?
Is there an action movie happening over there? And
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. I get up this morning to leave and my car is still in the carport and you can still smell the chemicals, the burnt. It's like, oh my God, this is going to be there a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and on the, melted asphalt ain't going to smell great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that's wow. And plus there's so much plastic on every car now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's bring it back to Book of Boba Fett as we wrap it up in the last minute.
Yeah.
Final thought. Do you think there should be another season of Boba Fett?
I don't know really what there is to say. If they can come up with a good, compelling story, sure, I'd love to see it. But right now, I bet you all you can do is like, oh, so some new syndicate comes after them. So I would say no, unless they have a good reason why. How about you?
I wouldn't mind seeing the characters again. I love Fennec. I like Boba. I like Black Chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the mods. They're starting to grow on me. So I'd like to see that combination again. But at the same time, it's like, are we a little overusing Tatooine? And
there is that.
And we're about to get nothing but Tatooine in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series in May.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If they can come up with a good story, I would happily watch it. But it does seem like I'd rather see Fennec, and Chrysanthemum back up Mandalorian in the Battle for Mandalore. That to me would be a more compelling use of them. Goggin says, I'd rather they not, if only to stop having Tatooine be the center of the Star Wars universe. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
so
even when they went to Tatooine on Mandalorian, I was like, oh, come on, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've got Navarro, which is like Tatooine light.
Yeah.
One less sun, than Tatooine. So
yeah.
All right, we're going to have to wrap it up there. Paul, it's been a pleasure. I hope you get to see Death on the Nile this week.
Thank you, Dan. You have very much encouraged me to look to do my best to get to that. So, and Peacemaker.
Yes, Peacemaker finale. I'm going to talk, and this week on the Dan Wickline Show, I will talk about Peacemaker, Death on the Nile, and Legend of Vox Machina. I didn't get a chance to watch the 3 episodes that dropped on Friday, but we will talk about them and probably the following 3 next week.
Yeah,
because we won't talk about Boba Fett.
I realized I had somehow missed an episode last week.
Ah.
I hit 2 and 3 or 3 or 1 and 2 of last week's drop, and then I was going back for something. I was like, wait, how did I not see that movie? And it was the big Pike episode.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in, even though there was this other thing on. Yep. Thanks for ignoring that and joining us, Andrew and everybody else. Amy,
all your comments. Yep.
All your comments are enjoyable. Andrew, I hope you get to see Death on the Nile this week too, so you can join us, talk about it. Or if you're available, maybe you can come on with us and talk about Death on the Nile. So we haven't had you on in a while, so let's see if we can make that happen.
Oh yes. No, I will be here next week. It's 3 weeks that I won't be here. Wow. Yeah.
So and there will be more Mannix coming up. So Mannix fans, stay tuned. We will talk to you all later. Have a good week.